apologize if this comes out wrong. Good morning, everybody. It's day number 31 for the To Recomp Trainer. We're doing upper back today. Upper back. Fuck, can't even talk right. We're doing chest. We're doing chest and shoulders. So I'm not going to do some fasted cardio now. It's quite windy and rainy, so I'm going to make this quick. Just for some PNS activation, and I'm going to wait about an hour before I eat. So let's get the day started, y'all. Alright, amigos, so we just did the myofascial release, fasted cardio, foam rolling on my back, glutes, hips, hamstrings. I stretched my quads out, make sure my calves are, and I'm going to preload 4 IUs of Novolin R today post-workout to use, and I'm going to go to Walmart and pick up like some high glycemic carbs of my choice. Here we have 120 grams of yam. It's about half eaten now with 6 ounces of tilapia. The yam is seasoned with Saigon cinnamon, which I use up here, right there, as well as a little bit of ground ginger and stevia. And the tilapia is fresh squeezed with lemon. We are going to do 3 milliliters of Mediform here on the side delt application. We're just going to go 1 here and 1 here as well. I'm going to preload 4 IUs of Novolin R in here for the gym. Here we have our 10 IUs of insulin. I just preloaded this just in case I lost any, but I'm going to experiment with this. Spike that insulin, so I've got bananas, salad, a little bit of green tea, lean ground beef, and I'm thinking what I can get over here. Bring a little Go Pack container, so I'm carrying my whole tub of Recage with me into the gym, along with my bananas and gummy bears that I bought in case my insulin starts to overreact and I go hypoglycemic. I have that on hand. So, fuck talking, let's get to the gym. Alright, buenos dias, amigos. To start this chest and shoulder workout, we're working on a barbell incline here. First warm-up set, 135 pounds, 15 to 20 reps. Pick a weight you can do for 15 to 20 repetitions. Now moving on to our second warm-up set. Again, this is 135 pounds again, performing for another 8 to 10 repetitions to make sure that I've got enough fluid. Now, moving on to our first working set, this is 185 pounds, performed for another 8 to 12 repetitions to failure. I did not touch chest here, being I have some rotator cuff injuries. I can't really go that deep when it comes to this exercise. I just go deep enough where I can feel enough contraction on the upper chest and press up. This is our second working set of another 8 to 10 repetitions with 185 pounds. Ensure you guys have some sort of wrist wraps or elbow wraps to prevent injury. Now this is our final working set of 205 pounds, performed for 6 to 8 repetitions. I had a spotter here. The gentleman was kind enough to give me a little bit of a lift off and help me with the assist. Having a gym partner or any sort of spotter you could find in a gym definitely helps to take your sets and reps past failure, as they can assist you. We then stripped off from 205 back down to 135, performed for another 15 to 20 repetitions here as shown to failure. I used the rest pause method to reach my targeted reps, and we then moved on to our next exercise. Shown here is a decline barbell bench, performing another 15 to 20 repetitions with 135 pounds to failure. We then set up the bar with 185 pounds, performed for another 10 to 12 repetitions to failure. After this set was done, I then stripped off the 25s and worked my way back down to 135 pounds, performing another 8 to 10 repetitions or so to failure. I did have to use the rest pause method and rack the weight and perform
another 2 to 3 reps just to reach the targeted rep range that I had. I recommend you guys do this safely and engage the chest. Next exercise perform is a Hammersmith press, again with the resistance bands, as I always like to use these. Here we have one plate aside, performing our first warm-up set or working set for 8 to 12 repetitions to failure. I'm using a tempo of taking about 2 seconds to lower the weight and exploding up. Now for our heaviest working set, here we have 2 plates aside with the resistance bands. This machine feels a little bit heavier than the other ones I had at the Club Fitness gym back in Missouri. Here in New Jersey, this is more of a powerhouse style gym. Perform 6 repetitions to failure, and then I tried to knock out 1 repetition each unilaterally. I then stripped off the 45-pound plates on each side, worked my way back down, pyramiding down to another 12 to 15 repetitions to failure. I did have to use the rest pause method in this set to reach my targeted reps. After reaching failure there, I stripped off the 45s and just performed 15 to 20 light reps with the machine itself to push more blood into the chest. Now that that triple drop set is done, we're performing another drop set, again, this time only with 25-pound plates aside the 45s, performing 8 to 10 repetitions to failure, stripping off the 25s and working our way back down as we did in the previous sets. I personally like to perform supersets and drop sets combined in the same set because I feel this is a maximum way to incorporate conditioning as well as hypertrophy and even a little bit of strength here. Don't be afraid to go light. It's not about how much you lift, it's about how much you look like you can lift. After taking about 2 to 3 minutes of rest, we moved on to a dumbbell incline. Here I am holding 65-pound dumbbells, performing my first warm-up set of 10 to 12 repetitions to failure. Use a tempo on this exercise of 2, 1, 2. And what I mean by this is 2 seconds down, 1 second to explode up and holding the position, and 2 seconds to perform in the concentric phase of the rep. Superset this exercise with a plate pinch. Here I'm holding a 25, kind of just doing my best. Take a minute of rest between that superset and perform a dumbbell bench. Here I'm holding 2 80-pound dumbbells, performing 8 to 10 repetitions to failure, using the same tempo as before. This exercise is then again a superset with a plate pinch, except this time I'm using a dumbbell. Moving on back to the dumbbell incline, using the 65s again for another 8 to 10 repetitions to failure, supersetting this with the plate pinch once more. This is our last superset of this exercise, and now we're going to move on to our following exercise.
Some landmine presses using a hack T-barbell machine. This is heavy.
Chest is now smashed, so we're moving on to the shoulder press. This is a behind the neck press that I wanted to use as a prime movement just to warm up the shoulders, get everything moving and everything fluid for our following exercise. We moved on to one of my favorite hacks to use on machines, a hack press, hack shoulder press. I warmed up with 2 plates for 10 to 12 repetitions. Did not take this to failure, and then went on over and grabbed my weight belt as I needed it for back support. We racked up 3 plates here as shown on the press for another 10 to 12 repetitions. I then performed a drop set, back down to 2 plates for another 10 to 12 repetitions to failure, and rested for 1 to 2 minutes.
One thing with training chest, obviously before shoulders, is your shoulders are already pretty fatigued. They're already hit with their most potential. So don't be afraid if you need to go a little light, even using 10-pound dumbbells, 5-pound dumbbells on shoulders, because they're already pretty exhausted from training chest. So, and being that I also train upper back and traps, my neck's a little sore, so there's tightness. This is the heaviest set that I'm going to go right here. This is 4 plates on a hack squat. I'm going to shoot for about 3 to 4 reps.
For our final working set here, there are 4 plates aside. I'm performing 5 to 6 repetitions. I did fail on the final rep. I was unable to make the lockout portion, so I ended up racking the weight, stripping back down to 2 plates to reach my targeted reps that I had, which was 10. So I knocked out an extra 4, did a few forced reps, a few rest pause, just to reach failure. What I found was that when I gripped my hands at the very end of the pads of the machine, I was able to feel more trap and front delt engagement. So for my final reps, I incorporated that. Exercise shown here is a rear delt cable raise. I'm performing 15 repetitions for 3 sets per side. Next exercise performed is a standing cable raise, standing cable side raise. Perform the same protocol as 15 repetitions, also with a 15 isometric hold, basically holding the weight at the top contraction point of the rep as shown here for 15 seconds. Perform this same protocol for the other side of the shoulder. Now we're doing the reverse pec fly or rear delt fly, whatever you like to call this. Perform another 8 to 10 repetitions. Pick a weight that won't allow you to reach failure, but will allow you to get a good stretch and keep blood and pump in the muscle, as this will be supersetted. As shown here, we're performing a standing dumbbell press, also using a supinated Arnold press superset with a dumbbell front raise. These were all done synergistically as a giant set. Next exercise is a banded side lateral raise. If you have access to a resistance band or not in your gym, strap these around 2 dumbbells of your choice and perform 8 to 10 repetitions to failure. Then drop the band and perform 8 to 10 repetitions of just regular side lateral raises. If you need to use some swinging body motion to get the weight up, that's fine. These reps are meant to be forced. This is meant to be high rep cardiovascular, one for increased hypertrophy and endurance. Once that is complete, perform 20 to 30 repetitions of front raises, just doing one arm at a time unilaterally. Doing it in this fashion allows you to get more reps up as one arm is resting as the other arm is contracting. Perform rest, pause, and drop sets if needed. Now that shoulders and chest is done, we're moving on to the icing on the cake, as I like to call it, our abs. Here I am performing a leg lift. The reason why I like doing this exercise is it's pretty variable and very diverse as to where you can move your legs, your torso, and your arms to shift the rotation of what angle of your abs is going to be hit.
It for day number 31 of 56 to Recomp chest and shoulders, as you saw there. A lot of heavy compound supersets, drop sets. I wasn't able to go too heavy today, but I'm feeling out nice with the insulin. We did 8 IUs, I believe. I filled it up to the 1.0 tick mark. So I actually think that's 10 IUs, but I'm not feeling it. I had 1 serving of gummy bears, which is 33 grams of carbs, and about half of a banana. It was just too ripe. I couldn't finish it. So that's probably about 55 grams of carbs. So my body is tolerant enough for every IU. It's kind of like half a gram of carb, not 1 full gram. So if I consume 10 IUs, that's about 50 grams versus 100 grams. And I had 1 scoop of recaged and of course my intro workout, so activation extend. So I will be on my way home now to kind of just relax and mellow.
It doesn't have to be boring, guys. A lot of people think fitness athletes stick to nothing but chicken and rice, or chicken and broccoli, fish and veggies, and it all sounds, you know, boring. But season your food up, man. This is a Japanese yam, 6 ounces tilapia, sauteed in tomato, garlic, red onion, and I'll add a little bit of stevia onto the meal with my little hack to add some sugar-free sweetness to it, calorie-free, and salt, and it tastes amazing, all on top of just a plain green salad. It's cheap, it's effective, it works, and it's a very, very hearty, wholesome meal.